kitchen is where the magic is made.
Hi, I'm Holly, your friendly neighborhood carnivore. I'm so happy you could join me today. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be making some delicious and nutritious bone broth. Before we get into making it, I thought it would be a good idea to share with you guys the health benefits that come with bone broth and also what kind of things you can use bone broth with. Okay, so our first benefit we're going to talk about with bone broth is going to be the collagen. Bone broth is very high in collagen, which means it is great for your skin elasticity. It is great for reducing wrinkles if you have some. It's great at preventing wrinkles if you don't want to get some. And it is also a great thing for hair growth and nail growth. So excellent source of collagen. Any lady is going to be wanting to have this bone broth in her life because we all want nice skin, nice nails, nice hair. And I know you men are probably going to be excited about that as well. Our next benefit we're going to talk about is our immune system. So bone broth is excellent for the immune system because it is high in minerals like magnesium, iron, and selenium. So if you're starting to feel under the weather or you just kind of want to feel a little bit better, get yourself some bone broth to give you a little boost of minerals. It is excellent for that. It's also a great source of electrolytes. So many people on the carnivore diet are saying, I need more electrolytes. My electrolytes are imbalanced. What can I do? Well, again, we just talked about magnesium being in this. Magnesium, sodium, some potassium in it as well. You are going to get your electrolytes right here in this bone broth. All right, and then our last benefit I'm going to talk about, but this is not the least important one by any stretch of the imagination. This benefit is that it improves your gut health. Now, coming from someone like me who has had gut issues her entire life, trust me, you want something that is going to bring you some good gut health. I love bone broth because it is a hot, comforting beverage that can also be made into foods, but it is a fantastic hot beverage that I can just feel it nourishing my body, and I get so many benefits from it. And to be able to have a comfort food that is going to be easy on digestion, it's so important. So now that we've talked about the benefits of bone broth, we now need to talk about how you can actually consume this bone broth, because I know some of you are thinking, I don't want to sit around and drink bone broth. Or some of you might be saying, man, I'd love to have bone broth. I hear people talking about it all the time, but I'm too lazy to make it. Either way, we've got you covered, okay? This is one of the laziest things that you can make. You're literally roasting the bones. You don't even have to do that part. You can skip that step. You're gonna throw them in the pressure cooker, cook them for a couple hours, and it's done. That's it. You just gotta take the bones out of it and it's done. If you don't have a pressure cooker, you can use a slow cooker. You can cook it on your stove. There are other methods. You don't have to use a pressure cooker. It's just my preferred method because it is the most hands-off method for me. So how are we gonna consume this bone broth? Well, first up, we can drink it. So a lot of people that are gonna go on the Lion diet, let me interrupt myself real quick and explain that the Lion diet is ruminant meat, salt, and water only. There is nothing else. There's no spices, there's no coffee, there's no tea. Ruminant meat, which would be beef, lamb, bison, goat, camel, giraffe, technically. There's a list of ruminant animals, and you can eat any of these ruminant animals on the Lion diet. You cannot, however, have anything outside of that. So you're not going to be having chicken, you're not going to be having pork, you're not going to be having turkey, rabbit. All of these other animals will not be included on the Lion diet. Now, if you caught it, I said you cannot have coffee on the Lion diet. Well, a lot of people go to that particular diet for finding healing, okay? When you're trying to heal, you have to drop things like the coffee to see if it gives you problems or not. And I know it's a very scary thing for a lot of people because we're addicted to coffee. I used to be really addicted to it myself. Bone broth is the method that you use when you're on the Lion diet and you're in the routine of having that ritualistic cup of coffee in the morning. So on the Lion diet, you're gonna drop that coffee and instead you're gonna have a hot cup of bone broth. It's gonna be beef bone broth or lamb bone broth, bison bone broth, but it will come from the ruminant meats. It is delicious and it is surprisingly really comforting to have in the morning. It's if you've never done it in place of coffee, I know it sounds crazy, but give it a try. Once you've gotten past the caffeine addiction, it is so much better. It makes you feel so good, and it's warm and it's comforting and so healing. Okay, so that's for those people that are on Lion diet. Now, the ones who are not on Lion diet would still be able to incorporate this into their life with drinking it if you just want to drink broth. So bone broth is a great way to break a fast. If you're doing an extended fast, anything over, probably over 24 hours, I was gonna say 32 to 48 hours or longer, definitely you're gonna wanna ease into eating again. And bone broth is nice and easy on the digestive system, and it's going to be a really nice way of transitioning over, waking your digestive system back up and moving on from not having any food and your body doing all of those processes and then starting to introduce that food back, and your body's going to start waking up and have to get things moving again. So bone broth is a great way to get that started. If you look back at my other videos, you will know that I had a fatty latte video, and one of the lattes that I mentioned you can make is a bone broth latte, and it is absolutely fantastic. I love hot beverages. It is the ultimate comfort thing, especially in the wintertime because I hate being cold. So a fatty bone broth latte would be your hot bone broth frothed up with a couple of egg yolks and some butter or ghee, and maybe a pinch of salt if you don't have it salted already, and blend that together, and it is fantastic. Now, I know there are a lot of you that are thinking, I am not a bone broth drinking kind of person. That's not what I want to do. And that's fine. I get that. Bone broth is also excellent to have as your base for any kind of soup you might want. Egg drop soup is excellent with chicken or turkey bone broth. My son is a huge fan of ramen bowls, and we do a keto version using the miracle noodles, or we can do the miracle noodles that are made from egg whites. And he is a huge fan of that. So with a ramen bowl, I usually will go with chicken, turkey, or a pork bone broth, which is what I'm going to be making today. I've actually not made the pork bone broth before, so this is the first time for me to make the pork one, but I'm excited about it. But those are great options for a ramen bowl. Also, if you're a fan of ground beef, you can cook up some ground beef and pour some beef bone broth on top of it, let it simmer for a little while, and it makes a delicious beefy soup. Or you can do the same thing with meatballs, and that is an excellent method for having a soup that you can have on the Lion diet. And last but not least, one of my favorite applications for bone broth is to make a gravy. You can make a wonderful gravy with bone broth by just simply reducing it down. You can, if you're able to tolerate dairy, you can reduce it down with heavy cream. That's what I do for my family a lot, and they absolutely love it. You can also just reduce it down pretty good. You have to reduce it down a lot, but you can add some gelatin to it. And that alone can be a gravy, but it can't be served super hot because it won't thicken up a whole lot. And also, I will show you guys at some point how I make my gravy that I'll do for like sausage gravy and biscuits. So because I can't tolerate dairy, and I am a Southern girl that loves a good sausage gravy and biscuit. I have got a way that I make it using egg yolks instead of heavy cream. So I will be excited to share that with you guys in the future. So lots of different options, lots of things that you can do with bone broth. And then on top of that, there are a lot of different flavors you can get from when you're creating your bone broth. You can use any type of bones that you save. For the most part, every time I have, if I cook a whole chicken, I toss the chicken carcass in the freezer so I can make bone broth with it later. Anytime we have pork ribs or I get a pork roast with the bone in, I will always save those bones. When they're done, I just toss them in the freezer for later. Same with beef ribs, marrow bones. If I do lamb ribs, I will save the lamb bones. All of these things are wonderful, especially turkey. I am not a huge fan of turkey meat, but at Thanksgiving, we save the carcass from the turkey and it makes one of my favorite bone broths out there. I love turkey bone broth. I like the broth better than I like the turkey meat itself. So I've given you the rundown on the health benefits of bone broth, how we can use the bone broth, but now what we gotta do is we gotta get in the kitchen and we gotta go make it. So come on guys, let's get in the kitchen and let's get this bone broth going. Okay, so I chose out of all of my bone collections to go with pork this time around. So I've got a full freezer bag, one that was started, and then I have got a ham bone from the Easter ham. So that's what I'm going to use to make my bone broth today. I've not made pork bone broth before, but I have been saving the bones and I thought it is finally time to give this a go. My son is a huge fan of ramen bowls, so I figure this is gonna be really good for him. He's gonna be really excited about that. So I'm just gonna show you how I do this. You don't have to go with pork bones. You can go with beef bones, lamb bones, turkey bones, chicken bones, any type of animal. Just keep the bones after you get done eating it, and it is going to make you some fabulous broth. You can mix and match. You don't have to do all of the same animal. You can do pork and beef and chicken together. I have not tried it that way, but I've heard a lot of other people do that. And they really like it. So someday I'm gonna have to try that. But in the meantime, I've got all of these pork ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those roasted and we're gonna get started on cooking them. Okay, so all I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my bones that I have collected. I have got all different kinds of bones in here. I mean, they're just from ribs, or if I've gotten a roast or anything like that, I have just saved it. Throw those in, and then lastly, I also have the ham bone from the Easter ham. Now I have got these in my Ninja Foodie. I will roast these in here. If you don't have a Ninja Foodie like this, you can also roast these in the oven. But I just like to do it in here because they all stay in the same pot where I'm gonna be pressure cooking them. So here I go. All right, I'm just going to turn this on. Gonna go with bake roast. I'm gonna go up to 400 degrees for, oh no, about 20 minutes. I'm gonna toss them around halfway through and we'll see if they're done, and if not, we'll just add a little bit more time to them. So we are halfway through. It's been about 10 minutes. It already smells amazing. I'm gonna try to stir these up a bit, get some of these ones on the bottom, moving up here to the top. All right, we will let them continue to roast. Okay, so our bones went for a total of 25 minutes at 400 degrees. They are looking pretty good and brown to me. Yeah, I think that looks really good. All right, so next up, let me see if I can get these back down in there a little nicer so I know my lid will go back on in a minute. There, that'll work. Okay, so we've got our bones roasted. All we have to do now is add water. Now I am going to be adding water all the way up to my max fill line on here. Now, if you are using a pressure cooker, like I am, make sure you follow the pressure maximum line and not the other one. Okay, so I am officially at max line on my liquid. Okay, I'm going to add just a tablespoon or two of the Bragg's apple cider vinegar. That is going to help break down some more of those minerals in those bones. And then we're going to go with some salt. Okay. Now we just put on our lid. Make sure we have it set to seal. Okay, this time we are going to set pressure. We want to make sure that it is on high. And we are going to go for 2 hours. And we're off. Okay, our 2 hours is up. You can either let it do a natural release or you can do a quick release, doesn't really matter. I went ahead and released the pressure on mine after about, I think I let it sit for about 10 minutes. So, here we have all of that glorious bone broth bubbling away in here. Oh, it looks and smells so good. Okay, so I'm taking my strainer and I'm gonna put it in my large pot. And then I'm gonna use those big old strong muscles I've been working on. And we're gonna pick up our bone broth and pour it right in. Ooh, these are gonna splash and it's gonna be bad. There we go. That wasn't as bad as I was expecting. Okay. All right, and there you have your glorious pot of bone broth. Okay, so it's that time of day where my kiddo is home from school now and the TV's on and the house is noisy, but my bone broth is finally done and I need to taste test it for you guys. So I figured I will just come outside and do that since I'm outside heating up the grill for dinner anyways. So, all right, I've got my pork bone broth. It's really hot, let's hope I don't burn myself. Oh yeah, this is so good. This is gonna make some amazing soup. Okay, so it has been a day since I cooked the bone broth and I did my taste test for you guys, but I thought I would quickly show you how I like to freeze these. So I do the Ziploc bags, the smaller ones, what are these, quart size Ziploc bags. I do 2 cups of bone broth in each of these. And I ended up with Six of these plus, you know what? If this doesn't have measurements on it, probably 7 of these actually, because I did pull some out for my taste test and the rest of this. So anyways, I wanted to show you this. This is how I freeze them. That way I can line them up in the freezer and they don't take up a lot of space. They are very easy to thaw out. And if you just need some of it, you can literally snap it in half, pull out a cup instead of having 2 cups. Just a tip I thought I would share with you guys on that. And then the other thing I wanted to touch on that I didn't show you guys because this bone broth was not refrigerated yet. So this is the rest of it that I had sitting in my little cup that I didn't taste test yet. But this is fresh from the refrigerator. Now, if you buy bone broth in the store, even after it's refrigerated, it is liquid, okay? That liquid broth, it is not collagen rich like fresh made bone broth. When you refrigerate this stuff, it should be solid. It should not be coming out. It is a gel. It's jello, right? So make sure your bone broth is thick and can do this, because otherwise you're not getting all of those collagen benefits. And I figure last thing I'm gonna do is give you guys a taste test cold, because yes, I am a freak that eats cold fat, you know, just like tallow sitting around or anything like that. I will also eat cold bone broth. So look at that jiggling, that is jello, and it's delicious. It's like a cold soup, great for summertime when you're wanting something to cool off, but you get all your electrolytes in there. Give it a try. It's something interesting to do. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and feel free to follow me over on X or on Instagram. And if you haven't hit that notification bell yet, go ahead and hit that notification bell, because that is going to tell you when we have something else cooking up in the kitchen. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will see you guys next time when we will be cooking up something delicious in the kitchen. Bye.
She's the friendly neighborhood carnivore with a talent for cooking up a meaty uproar. From juicy steaks to sizzling ribs galore, she'll have you coming back for more. Fellas, smash that like button. She's the carnivore cooking queen. On your screen, bringing the